Today, I want to give you some tips on managing your taxes as a food delivery driver, whether you're on DoorDash, Uber Eats, or GrubHub. How is it that you take care of making sure that your taxes are paid and that you come up with the right number at the end of the day? My name is John McFall, and I want to welcome you to the McFallRI channel, where I teach you how to make money, and I also teach you how to manage that money that you are making. In today's video, I kind of want to give you a basic foundation on how you can manage your taxes with these food delivery things, because we're independent contractors, which means that we're a 1099 employee with them. We are not a W-2 employee, so we are responsible for taking care of the taxes ourselves, and we don't rely on an employer to manage our taxes and taking out the tax money that we have to pay for us. The first disclaimer that I want to say is I am not a tax expert, nor am I a legal expert. I've just been doing 1099 work for years, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing and kind of want to pass along some basic knowledge to you guys so that you can make sure that you're taking care of the taxes that you have to pay. And I want to talk to you about how you manage the income and expenses and the mileage so that you know exactly what your tax burden is going to be. The first thing I want to talk about is your mileage. Mileage is really important when it comes to doing food delivery, because we are out here in our own personal vehicles to take food from restaurants to the customers, and it's really important that you keep track of your miles. Some people will say that you reset your trip odometer when you head out of your driveway and go start to work, and then you take the miles that are total from the point that you leave your house until you get back from working. Other people say that you should only start it when you actually start working and start doing the actual deliveries when you're on the apps, and other people will tell you that you only do it as you are actually on an active delivery. These are the miles that you're supposed to track. What I'm going to suggest to you is that you talk to your tax professional, whoever it is that you use to do your taxes, and get advice from them on what miles you should actually be tracking. Each tax professional will tell you their own opinion and tell you what they think that you should do so that you can start keeping track of the miles the right way for your situation. The second thing I want to talk to you about is how you actually set yourself up to take out the taxes and to pay the taxes. You have one of a few different options when it comes to being a 1099 contractor with these platforms, and that you can just do it on your personal taxes. You basically get the 1099s at the end of the year. You add the income into your tax return, and it figures out what your tax burden is going to be on that money, and you pay it through your own personal Social Security number and pay your taxes based on the fact that you're treating it as income that you would get, like, let's say, from a W-2 job or something like that. So you can just use your personal taxes to do the tax returns when you are doing food delivery, just like you would a W-2 job. Another option, my way that I do it, is I actually set up an LLC. This is a limited liability company. So my business is actually separate from my personal taxes, and it has what they call pass-through taxes, which means that I file forms with my taxes based on my business, and my business does have its own business number when it comes to the federal government. So I actually have to do forms that are related to my business, and then it passes through to my personal income taxes at the end of the year with the income that I make from doing food delivery. So an LLC might be a good option for you if you're doing food delivery full-time and this is your only income, and also if you're doing food delivery along with some other type of side business or something like that, or even if you have a W-2 job like I do and I use my LLC for all of my business stuff, that goes into it. So it's a really good avenue to go if you have multiple things that you do, or if you do food delivery full time. The third way, which not a lot of food delivery people should really need to do, is to actually set up a corporation. This completely separates your business stuff from your personal stuff. And this is something that some people can do, but it's not really necessary if you're doing contract work with the food delivery platforms. You don't have to use a corporation. The third thing I want to talk to you about is your actual income and your expenses that you can kind of put into your tax return to help reduce your tax burden. Obviously, you get a 1099 from DoorDash, Uber Eats, and GrubHub at the end of the year, which will lay out what your actual income was from each of the platforms that you worked on throughout the year. If you're out here doing food delivery, every time you do a delivery, that money adds up, and at the end of the year, they send you a 1099, which is the tax form that the government requires for them to tell the government what your income is. So even if you do not put the income onto your tax forms at the end of the year that you earn from these food delivery companies, they're actually sending that information to the federal government with your 1099, so they're going to know how much that you made from the food delivery that you're out here doing. When it comes to the actual expenses that you have for doing food delivery, there's a lot of different things that you can consider expenses when you're out here working. Obviously, the miles, you can either keep track of the actual dollars that you're spending on gas, and you can take that into consideration and figure that out on your taxes, or you can actually just take a simple mileage deduction. The federal government sets up every year how much the tax deduction that you will get from the miles that you are driving in your vehicle. So it's really easy to figure out how much that you are going to get deducted from on your tax return simply by keeping track of the miles while you're out here doing food delivery. Another huge expense, when I'm out here doing food delivery, I get hungry, I get thirsty, I stop by restaurants, I stop by the gas station, I get food and drinks. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually count these expenses for food and drinks on your taxes at the end of the year if you are doing it while you are actually working. So make sure you're keeping track of the receipts that you have for your food and drinks when you're out here doing food delivery. There are other things that you can use as deductions on your taxes when you're doing food delivery. If you buy, let's say, shoes specifically for when you're out working, if you buy equipment like bags and things like that to carry your food in, if you have expenses such as like dash cams and things like that when you're using it specifically for when you're out here doing food delivery, you can actually take these things off as deductions when it comes to tax time. Again, I'm going to refer you to your tax expert. If you buy anything at all for your food delivery stuff, make sure you talk to the tax person to see if it's something that you can actually deduct off of your expenses when you're out there doing food delivery, and see if it can be a tax deduction for you. So what is the easiest way that you can manage all the income and expenses and tracking miles when you're out here doing food delivery? The easiest way that I have personally found to do it is I use a program called QuickBooks Self-Employed. This is a program that I can use on my phone. I can use it on my iPad. When I open up my laptop, I can get on QuickBooks Self-Employed, but I use QuickBooks Self-Employed for a few different reasons. Number one, it tracks your income. You put your income in every week when you get paid. Even if you take out the money daily for your food delivery stuff, you can put it in daily into QuickBooks Self-Employed and keep track of it. The expenses, you can actually snap receipts in it. You just take a picture of the receipt, it breaks it all down, and it puts it in to QuickBooks Self-Employed so you can keep track of your expenses. The third thing that it does, which is really awesome, is it actually keeps track of your miles that you put in. You can automatically track it in QuickBooks Self-Employed, or you can do it like I do it, which is to manually enter the miles in the app every time I get done with my shift. So it keeps track of all your miles. And the great thing about QuickBooks Self-Employed is once it gets to the end of the year and you get ready to do your taxes, it will put all this information back out to you and have it broken down in a good way that will help you be able to do your taxes very easily. QuickBooks Self-Employed, it cost me like $15 a month, but it's well worth that expense because at the end of the year, everything is in there and I don't have to do anything other than spit out the information to get my taxes done. So if you don't use a program to do it and you think that you would like to try, QuickBooks Self-Employed is one of the best ones that you can choose to use. In my description, I have a link for QuickBooks Self-Employed if you want to go check it out. One thing I do want to say is I do get a commission for it if you sign up and use QuickBooks Self-Employed with my link. But it's a great program that you can use to get yourself going when you are wanting to keep track of your income, expenses, and miles. So make sure you go check it out if you are interested. Last thing I want to say is I hope that you are out there getting the money that you and your family deserve. And with that, I want to say thanks.